Okay, so number 4 for your starter pack is how to choose and find the country that is right for you. So, the first thing I want you to do before you start your research is to make a list of your values and to make a list and to basically take a look at that list and figure out what you absolutely have to maintain to be you and to just continue being unique and thriving. And also look at this list and figure out what you are willing to compromise, because there is no perfect country. There is no perfect thing where you're going to move there and your life is going to magically change, because once again, everything starts inside in your mindset and your thoughts and your actions and your beliefs. And also, there's a phrase that I see around, and I have become just even more familiar with what it means. And the phrase is, wherever you go, there you are. So you're not going to move to a new country and magically not think and feel the same things that you may have thought and felt at home. So with me, like, moving out of Atlanta won't make me feel less like, anxious or about like where my life is going. Sometimes, like, it just won't cure that whole existential crisis we all have. Like, that's just not gonna happen. If you want to move to another country and you feel like you're gonna find your man or your woman, or you just gonna be doing all these exciting things all the time and you're not gonna feel lonely and isolated, that's not gonna happen. Like, that's not gonna be true. So when you embark on this new experience, I want you to understand that you're still gonna be you. You're gonna be a new, improved you, a new you who decided to take a chance and have more fun and live life more. I agree, but you also still gonna feel the same way about whatever you felt the feelings about at home. Does that make sense? So when you're choosing a country, understand that your life is not gonna magically change, but you will have just like a sense of pride that, damn, I did this. I took these steps. I moved out the country. I'm navigating and learning through this culture, through this whole experience. You're gonna have a sense of pride and a sense of confidence in who you are, and that's gonna build that momentum to do even more different things in your life. So, how to choose the country? Personally, I made a list of values, and when I chose Barbados, it was kind of already chosen for me because of the remote work program and just Barbados opening up the country for people to come and vacation and live here. It was already chosen for me, and it did fit my list. So my list of things that I basically wrote down were: safety was number one. And this is honestly in no particular order, but it was safety, of course. Like, is it genuinely safe? Is it, like, when I look up reports, like, what are the main reports that are happening in Barbados? I feel very safe here, honestly. And I'm not just saying that, but the crime rate is low. Like, there's still things that happen, and like, crimes and robberies and things like that, but it's not off the charts. So safety, I put, like, the location of where I would choose to live, and just what is there to do on the island, proximity to shops and like social activities and things like that, because there are some islands that are still very much remote, like, if that makes sense. Like, you won't go there and have much of a social and nightlife. And I put Black people. I wanted to be around Black people. There'll be a thriving Black community. Of course, Barbados is definitely that. I put infrastructure and healthcare. Like, I wanted to move to a well-developed country that had fast Wi-Fi, that was like up with the times as far as like, healthcare, of course, goes. The infrastructure of the country, like the roads, the cars, the houses, sealed, are the houses sealed? Like what's the whole infrastructure of everything there, the engineering. I wanted to move somewhere where it was definitely not underdeveloped, and Barbados is pretty developed. Price, that's, I'm sure, high on your list. Price of, like, rent, housing, electricity. I wanted, like, upgraded style. Is maintenance included? Is there going to be a housekeeper? And I'm not saying that to be bougie, but like when you move to a lot of countries, it's normal for you to have a housekeeper included, like in the rent, like the Wi-Fi, the electricity. Price is very important. You don't want to move to like Dubai, like, because I hear Dubai is super expensive, and then you just are basically like living the same life in America financially in Dubai, which could be okay. It's a good experience if that's your goal. But when a lot of people move to another country, because once again, you're still going to have your American income or your American dollars, and you're going to use that, and that's going to go a long way in countries like Thailand or Mexico. Personally, Barbados is a little even as far as like it's not much cheaper than the United States, and I will talk about that in my cost of living Barbados video. But for now, like, Barbados is pretty much kind of the same. So that was one of my other values. Beach. I did want to be close to a beach. I do not want to live anywhere that is super remote or cold or icy and snowy. And groceries, access to fresh food, fresh water, running water. What's the indoor living situations like? So those were my values as far as like moving to another country. And even if I would not have chosen Barbados, I would have used this list of values to make my decision. And also think about what you're willing to compromise on. Personally, I cannot compromise on the infrastructure of like the city and the island or whatever, or the infrastructure of like the housing. Like, it has to be a safely sealed apartment, like, with doors and screens and things like that. I was not willing to compromise on that. I was not willing to compromise on no Wi-Fi, because that's how, I make my money, is on the internet and through Wi-Fi, of course. So make a list of your values. Also, values can be like immersing yourself in the cultural experience, finding new friends. Your values can be becoming a different person. I don't know, a person who like explores nature. If you want to move to like a country that is really big on hiking or surfing or learning a new skill, like, just dive deep into who you are, what you want out of this experience, who you want to become in this next stage of your life after you make that decision. And I think that that's going to give you a lot of information on where to start to look to choose the country for you. Okay, and number 5, what to know about actually like logistically living in another country. As far as your passport, I have a passport. How do I use that? A visa. Or just simply, I got asked this question on Instagram, what was the process to get approved to move to another country during a pandemic? So let me start by saying Barbados is a country that thrives off tourism. I believe it's their #1 way that the economy is stimulated here is by tourism. So when COVID happened, of course, there were no tourists, and the natives of Barbados suffered tremendously, just like in the United States, when they were out of jobs that were, basically tourism focused jobs, like restaurants, entertaining, boating, everything was basically affected here. So in order to stimulate the economy again, the Barbados government opened up a remote work visa program where people can apply to the program, and there are certain requirements that you have to meet, and then you pay a fee for the visa, and you can come and live here and work here remotely as long as you make money from your home country. You cannot come to Barbados and get a job. Now, I did apply for that program. I was accepted. However, technically I am in Barbados on a visa, like a tourist visa. Now, there are other countries that are doing this too. So I will also leave a link of an article that one of my friends, Chris, wrote about the other countries that are allowing people to come and work remotely while living in their country in order to stimulate their economy. So that's one way to do it. One way is to go through like a remote work program. I know Bermuda has one. I think like Antigua is doing one. Um, there are, that's one way to do it. You can look up the country, figure out if it meets your list of criteria and your list of values, and apply for that program, pay for the visa, and move there. Or there is what you call a tourist visa, where you can, if you have an American passport, you can use your passport as entry to another country for a set amount of months before you basically either have to apply for an actual visa or go home and come back. So that's what you can do too. So for example, if you wanted to go to Jamaica, you can like pack up, move, and have the intention of staying in Jamaica for 90 days. And you can live there, work from Jamaica, and then come back home. That's technically what a tourist visa is. Or if you wanted to go to Jamaica and live there for up to a year, you would contact the Jamaican embassy or the Jamaican like immigration office, or just go to their website and look up the requirements to purchase a visa, because generally visas, you buy them and the price depends on the country. So that's what you would, well, the first thing you're gonna need is a passport. So if you do not have a passport, then you will just have to fill out the passport application, get your US passport, and either you can travel to the country you intend to move to as a tourist, and sometimes you can stay there as a tourist for 90 days, 3 months, 6 months. I don't think that there are any tourist visas that last past 6 months, but in Barbados, with an American passport, you can come here and be a tourist for 6 months, and then you can apply for, like while you're here as a tourist, you can apply for the remote work visa program and then pay the $2,000 fee. It is a fee of $2,000 for the Barbados one. And then that's when you'll basically get an official visa document, like basically an ID saying that so-and-so is approved to live here until X date. And that's when you will technically be on a visa. Well, either way, you're on a visa, whether it's a tourist visa, a work visa, a student visa. And I'm just trying to make this as simple as possible, because the most important thing you need to know is you cannot go and just find a job in another country and work there unless you are on a work visa. And generally, like, your job will send you to another country and they will take care of that for you. But as an individual, you either are going to be coming up under like a student visa, a tourist visa, or like there are other types of visas that you can get as well to live and work from another country. Number 6, of course all of these are important, but number 6 also is important, is how to find friends and what it was like, once you met those friends. You need to be on the hunt to find some new friends and just new acquaintances in your new country of choice. And the way to do this is mainly through Facebook groups. So if you literally go to Facebook, you log in, and in the search bar, you type in expats in Colombia, or expats in Costa Rica, Black in Mexico. So an expat, of course, is somebody who lives outside of their home country. So there are so many communities that are catered to people who, want to create a community of Americans maybe living in another country. So personally, when I first made the decision to move to Barbados, I knew I was coming. I went to Facebook and I typed in Barbados expats, and a group came up, and that is where I found all of my information. That is where I started to talk to people who were doing the same thing. That is where we started to share resources on what to pack, how to pack, what company to use. That is where we started to share resources on how to find a rental, how to pay for the rental, who to talk to, who to avoid. So your greatest source of information is going to come from other people that are planning to go, that have lived there, or that are already in the country that you choose. So, Facebook groups, Facebook groups, Facebook groups. Open up, be social, ask questions, exchange numbers. If you don't want to exchange numbers, just message each other on Facebook every day. So once I joined the Facebook groups, there were like 3 or 4 that I joined, but there is one main one that really came to be the greatest source of information. There were people in there that started to create like group chats on WhatsApp. So there were like, let's say, Barbados nomads. Everybody who is coming to Barbados within this time frame, whether you're here, whether you plan to come on the way, join this WhatsApp group. And WhatsApp is just, the messenger that most people use when you travel around a lot. So once I joined the group, that's when I really started to make connections, because we talked about everything. We talked about what's there to do socially. We talked about how to find an ATM. We talked about the currency conversion. We talked about COVID protocols. So, how to find friends. Facebook, Facebook, Facebook. Join the Facebook groups. I'm going to leave some links to some big Facebook groups, and from there you need to niche down and find more specific Facebook groups to where you're going to move to, or where you're thinking about moving to, and join those. So there is a whole community of people doing this, y'all. Once again, there's a big Facebook group on Facebook that is basically dedicated to Black people moving out of the country, out of the United States, and living around the country for various reasons, whether that's to escape just the issues with the government, the violence against Black people, like just the sordid history of American culture. There is a whole group of Black people. It's called like an exodus, basically. So I'm going to link that below, and I would like for y'all to join that, and then you can dig around and see if you have any resources there for the country that you are thinking about moving to. So there's so many people doing this, so don't be discouraged. You're gonna find somebody who is exactly like you and me, never lived out of the country before, didn't even know where to start. I just basically did all of this research. And what I intend to do is make these videos that give you also the answers to the questions that you may need. So any questions y'all have, I would love for y'all to just comment them or reach out to me on Instagram and, DM me what you may have as far as I'm stuck here, what do I do here? And I will make a video or just give you the answers on what you may need to know. So, making friends. Please be social, be open, reach out to people. Like, if you see somebody post something, reply back to them, or like send a message and be like, hey, do you mind if I message you? Go from there. Talk about what you're struggling with. Be open, be vulnerable. Ask them what they're stressing about. Like, get to know people beforehand. And then when they get there, if they get there before you, check up on them. Be like, hey, how's it going? How do you like it so far? Like, what did you expect that happened, that didn't happen? In this part of your life, it's very important to, what's that Drake song, No New Friends? You have to let that mindset go. You're going to absolutely need to make friends that have your same interests, that share the same things as you, but be open to making different types of friends as well. So once you join the Facebook groups, say, hey, are there any chats that are happening offline as far as in iMessage or on WhatsApp or Telegram? Be open and social. And then what it was like meeting the people that I met like online first and in real life, it was basically normal. It was as if you were going to a party in your hometown or a mixer or whatever, and you went there by yourself and you started talking to random people and y'all started sharing the same interests, or y'all started doing the same things. It was like that. That's exactly how it is. So there is a fine line between being too cautious and not like letting people in or having your guard up. You're gonna end up isolated and alone. Honestly, you're gonna end up not knowing what to do on the weekends or the weekdays. You're gonna end up just very much more isolated. And when you don't have at least a couple friends or acquaintances that you hang out with, or exchange words with from time to time, that's going to make your transition very, very hard. It's going to make it 100 times harder if you try and stay guarded and stay closed versus like playing that line. You have to play the line between opening up, and being too, don't open up too much and be too vulnerable and just like overshare, or be too closed off. Like, you know what I'm trying to say? You have to play that fine line between not letting people take advantage of you or not putting yourself in awkward situations that you don't enjoy, over like just staying so closed and just deciding to do everything alone because you're too scared to come out of your shell. And also, it's also an experience in learning and who to trust and who's really genuine around you. That's what I'm trying to say. Don't be scared and feel like, oh, I can't trust them because I don't know them. That's the whole point of moving. You get to know people. You have new experiences. You try new things. And what you didn't like or what put a bad taste in your mouth, that's when you know to reel it back with those people or that situation. Like, I cannot express how much you have to open up and how much you have to say what you need, or because it's just going to be hard enough moving somewhere alone, or moving somewhere even if you have a partner or a friend coming with you. It's just going to be hard enough doing that. So don't make it harder on yourself by having just like a narrow mindset on who you feel like you need to hang with or gel with or mesh with. So that's why it's important to be who you uniquely are, and then be who you are to all of those new people. And then, you'll gravitate towards who you want to hang with, or who you kind of just want to be about. So Facebook groups is how I made contact with all of the people that were going. It's how I found like my roommate for my second apartment that I'm going to move into. It's how I found all of the things to do, all of the things not to do. It's how I found out all of the information I needed. And I technically wasn't able to put that information into action until I started to move, until I got here. But it wasn't like I had already knew everything that was going to happen, everything that I was probably going to do and things like that because of those people. Join the Facebook groups, niche down to find even more groups on the country you want to move to. Text these people, message them, reach out to them, keep following up. And of course, don't be a bugaboo, but I'm saying everybody's going to be excited and interested in if y'all are all moving to the same place or trying something new. So just build that bond. You already have that bond with people because all of y'all are moving to the same place. And I think that's what happened with Barbados. Everybody was so excited, like mind blown that we were able to have this experience living in paradise, working from it, like to where we just kept that momentum going the whole time. We were just excited to get through the process, to get here, to meet each other, to go and do all the social things, to hang out, to share information. Just keep that momentum going. So I hope that answers your question on how to make friends. And I'm also going to link in the description some of the groups that I mentioned. Okay, y'all. And number 7 to add to your starter pack on how to start the plan to move abroad or live long term is to adjust your mindset. Please adjust your mindset. And I'm mainly talking about, I'm from America. So I had to largely adjust my American mindset about everything. Like I just said, about making friends, about opening up versus guarding yourself. Like, adjust your mindset. So the first thing is, when I first moved here, I realized that there is a huge collective concern for everyone, like the health and safety of everyone here. Everyone here is generally friendly, and during COVID, there is collective health and safety concerns from the government or just from person to person, business to business. Versus in America, you've seen it play out. America is a huge culture of individualism. Like, I gotta get what I need. I gotta fight for myself and my family. And I've largely had to adjust that mindset living here because it's not really like that here. It's not like dog eat dog. It's not like I gotta, hurt this person or not give this person the resources or information they need to further themselves. Like, America is just fucked, honestly. But that's not what this video is for. When you move to another country, you're going to have to adjust yourself to that culture. With your mindset of getting things conveniently, fast, with your mindset of just going places and expecting everything you need to be available, going out and having service, like, I don't know, just adjust your mindset. I'm in my apartment right now, and I had to get used to it not being central AC. The first night I was here, the power went out at like 2 a.m. and I was just sitting in the dark. Like, you know, I was just like, okay, this is new. So I can't expect things to work like it's gonna work at home. My phone, I still haven't figured out a phone situation. So my phone basically only works when I'm on Wi-Fi. I need to get a SIM card, or I need to still find another phone and put a SIM card in there. Like, you need to adjust your mindset, because if you don't do that, you're just gonna, once again, make yourself suffer. So making friends, making connections, asking people what they liked about it, what they don't, but still having the experience for yourself is important. And also not when you ask people for their opinions and their advice, I would stay neutral. Like, don't lean towards one side, because when you get to your country, whether you're gonna visit or stay long term, you're going to need to take in that information for yourself. Like, so for example, when I was coming here, people were like, oh, you're not gonna be able to find good clothes, so bring all the clothes you need. Like, you know, clothes are so expensive, shoes, sandals. So, but when I got here, I realized that wasn't true. It simply was not true for me. Like, the clothes that I've seen so far, they're just normal price. I can find all the things I need. Like, when I was first coming here, people were like, bring coffee, bring this, bring that. You won't be able to find it. Personally, I listened to that advice. I heard it. But when I got here, I made the decision that, okay, that does not apply to me. So when you take in the information from other people that are going or have lived in your destination, realize that you still will need to get here and adjust your mindset accordingly to whatever they said versus the reality of the situation. So basically, that's all 7. That's all 7. And I want you to understand that your mindset is the most important thing here. So first, figure out your timeline. Don't overthink it. So whenever you feel like the timeline is gonna be just right for you, set a date and stick to it. Don't overthink it. It's going to be hard enough and stressful enough. Just let the timeline flow. Don't keep trying to push it back. Don't push it up. Set a date and stick to it. Number 2, figure out your working situation. Are you gonna be working? Well, you're gonna have to figure out how to work completely remotely. Number 3, figure out your financial situation, as far as how much money you would feel comfortable saving and setting aside, and what you're gonna do with your assets. Designate a person that is going to be able to give you information in emergency or take care of anything in the States for you after you leave. Number 4, make a list of your values and what you can and can't live without, and that's when you'll know how to choose the country for you. Number 5, your visa situation. You're most likely going to enter the country on a tourist visa, or you're going to look up a country that is allowing people to live there and work remotely on a remote work visa, or like a tour, or some sort of special visa. Number 6, you're going to need friends. Do not move to a country without making any sort of connections first. I don't care if it's just one person. Like, you're going to need friends. If you don't have a Facebook, download it. Just for these groups. I don't care. Put a picture up, put your name up, and find these groups and find these people that are already going to your destination or that are already there to make these connections. And then number 7, adjust your mindset. Open up to a new experience. Let go of any of your bias that you may have of a culture or just other people. Like, open up. Like, that's all I can say is you gonna need people. I promise you cannot do this alone. And you will literally suffer if you try to move somewhere alone and be in your little shell and do the things you would normally do. If you're gonna do that, you might as well stay home. So, in conclusion, I want to end this long ass video. Please, I hope you stuck with me by now, to let you know that there is no one formula. These 7 steps are intended to be a starter pack on how to start the research, get the ball rolling on what you can do to start to make a plan to move out of the country or just live somewhere else, long term, short term, whatever. There is not one way to do this. And what I do intend to do is to continue to make these types of videos that are more detailed as far as how to find a rental, what to do for, like, how to find a remote job maybe. This is basically the first video in the series of like the back end of me moving out the country. Once again, I've never done this before, y'all, so I swear it is worth it. But like I said before, it is not going to be easy. And I think that that's what most things in life, most of the things that we want out of life and that we visualize ourselves with, we visualize the end result and we visualize the feeling we want to feel, but you do have to put your head down and do the work to get there. So that's what this is gonna be like. That's what this journey to moving to another country is gonna be like. It's gonna be stressful, it's gonna be daunting, and you're gonna want to give up. But just like with any other goal you've ever made, please don't give up and see it through. And I'm so glad I did it, because it just gives me more confidence in myself. I'm able to trust myself more. I'm able to just be confident in who I am more and really show people who I really am. I no longer feel like I need to shapeshift or fit in with a certain group of people or do a certain thing with my life that, you know, maybe other people expect me to do. And it just gives me a sense of ownership over my life. Like, I just feel so happy and thrilled that I've done this, even in the hard moments, even when I don't have any Wi-Fi and I'm just walking down the street in downtown Bridgetown and missing my family and friends, or just missing being familiar with where I'm at. I still hold on to that confidence and that ownership that I took over my life. I know I've always wanted to live out the country, and 2020 really gave me some time to think and an opportunity to live out of the country. So I just want to end that on a positive note. And once again, follow me on Instagram, because that's where I really post like the day-to-day stuff on what I do in Barbados and things like that. So follow me on Instagram at Courtney'sDiary_, and I will be back with my next video. So in the meantime, I hope y'all stay safe and inspired.